So Cyberpunk's modding scene is changing the game up once more. Ever since Cyberpunk 2077 came out, we got countless innovative and sometimes truly game-changing mods that maybe even CD Projekt Red themselves didn't think of adding. That's why today we're gonna take a look at the latest batch of amazing mods that will completely change how you buy and upgrade vehicles, how you even navigate Night City in ways you never thought possible before, and much more. By the way, totally check out GOG.com using my links down below. You can get Cyberpunk 50% off or No Man's Sky 55% off if you use KhrazeGaming. I'm pretty sure that this is the biggest discounts on GOG.com and you get the full legit version of the game. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I always found it odd that in a day and age where you can pretty much upload your mind online, you need to travel manually to a location in order to purchase a vehicle. Well, that is no longer the case with the brand new virtual car dealer mod that pretty much brings all of that at your fingertips, or should I say at your display screen, because now if you access any computer terminal, you will notice there's a brand new section called the car dealer, and this is going to give you access to pretty much every vehicle and then some in Cyberpunk 2077. This includes both some of those default options that we were already able to purchase, but also more exotic variants that we never had access to before. Like, for example, some of the Shion variants with the transparent HUDs were definitely something I always wanted to purchase. Now it's finally possible to do so. Or maybe you want more of a utility truck, it's totally an option to buy that, all the way up to even Militech or police vehicles. Or if you're like me, you will buy a monster truck and just wreak havoc in Night City, since it seems to have a pretty interesting interaction with other vehicles when you go over them. But these will not only appear in the car dealer shop menu, they also appear in your vehicle summoning menu. So they will always stay over there with their own separate sections, so they will never overlap with any current vehicle that you own. Now, of course, since the main subject of this video is vehicle, let's also talk about another feature completely missing from Cyberpunk 2077, which is vehicle customization. I always wanted a feature to at least upgrade parts of my vehicles to make it better. Well, now that is also possible with the car modification shop, and there's also an appearance mod menu secondary mod that changes the location so that now you pretty much get a glorified mod shop in Night City. You can find this, by the way, in the northeast and right here on this side of the map, as the mod also adds a custom location and a custom waypoint that you can always access to. And if you also use the appearance mod menu secondary mod, it's going to turn the location into a pretty awesome mod shop, and then you're gonna get access to a ton of types of car upgrades, anything from the engine type, transmission, suspensions, even the tires, brakes, and you can reduce the weight of the vehicle to make it better. While these modifications will not physically appear on the car itself, neither will they appear in the car card when you summon it, they will be noticeable during gameplay. Like, for example, I modified an Avenger, and as you can see, the top speed that it reaches in the same location is much higher with the tier 3 installments that I applied to it. So yeah, like that speed on it, the top speed is definitely much higher, its acceleration is also much better, its grip on the road is way better because of the tires I've installed, and just overall it feels way better than how it is by default. And you can pretty much do this with every vehicle and it's totally worth it, but again, we're just keeping hopes high that someday we're gonna get something a bit more visual on the cars themselves. Now, once you've done all of this, there's one more thing left to make the entire experience complete, and that is the way you navigate Night City. And I believe there's no better mod out there right now, and probably the most creative mods I've seen so far for Cyberpunk 2077, which is Let There Be Flight. I'm not even sure you can find it on Nexus Mods. It's pretty much only available on GitHub, so there's gonna be some links down below that you can follow, but as the mod implies, this will let you fly in Night City, but it also goes a few steps beyond that. So once you get inside any vehicle or motorcycle, if you press the newly added E button, in this case for the keyboard and mouse, you're going to notice that your wheels will turn upside down and they will start acting like hover jets. And the way this mod has been implemented and created, at a first glance, it almost seems as if CD Projekt Red themselves implemented it. That's how quality it is. Basically, if you take a look at the wheels and how they move with your car, and depending on your input, and how the small thrusters on the side adjust and the air just moves, it all seems that it's a legit part of the default game. Also, the way you maneuver your vehicle in mid-air feels how it is supposed to feel. Like, there's weight to your car, there's air drifting. Also, the car, the way you control and rotate it, definitely feels how it's supposed to be, and at no point does it feel it out of place. I also enjoy the fact that you can pretty much reach locations that you never could before. Like, I was totally taken by surprise how many rooftops and high-rise apartments there are in Night City, especially in the more rich districts. You can also pretty much access them and just like explore, because there is a lot of stuff that CD Projekt Red has added over there that you normally don't get access to unless you do some cheating or reach them in other ways. Now, if you want to also go a step beyond this too, there's another way to make the navigation of Night City even better, and that's through a second GitHub mod, which is going to be called In-World Navigation. This is going to change the way you navigate the streets of Night City, because you will no longer pay attention to the mini-map, and instead the navigation will happen right in front of you, physically on the street level, pretty much how it is supposed to be in this day and age. I mean, even the old Need for Speed games had this implemented. Cyberpunk 2077 having this means that you no longer pay attention to in-game UIs, but instead pay attention to the gameplay. It makes navigation way better in my opinion, just because you can now admire the scenery a little bit more rather than paying attention to some UI in the corner of the screen. Not only that, because you preemptively see exactly where you need to navigate, this is going to make corner drifting a lot better. Previously, you would miss a lot of corners because the minimap UI would just not keep up with the speed that you had. Now that's no longer an issue because you just have the line that guides you through all of it. And not just that, it also changes the color depending on what type of objective you pick. If it is one of these side gigs, it's going to be with their respective color, which is going to be green. If it's a side mission, it's going to go with the yellow, or if it's a random point, it's going to keep its default white color. So I really appreciate the attention to detail. And finally, to truly wrap this up and just completely change that gameplay of yours, we have one final mod that makes the experience a little bit better, and that's called Corrupt NCPD. We have a lot of police mods out there that add car chases, random police events that CD Projekt Red themselves never added for some reason, and they all work amazingly well. But there was always one feature that I wanted in an open world video game like this, and that is the possibility to bribe the police forces. So the mod is pretty simplistic in its nature. You just get a new phone call dial that you can always access called Bribe NCPD, which is going to do pretty much that. Whenever you're being chased by police forces, you can just make a phone call, wait for the funds to be transferred, and then you're going to lose all of those stars right there. I also believe it depends on your star rating how much money is extracted from your wallet. So if you're going with a 1 or 2 stars, it's not going to be that expensive, only a few hundred eddies. But if you go like full 4 stars, it's probably going to be a lot more than that. Once you've done all of that and the funds are transferred, assuming that you don't die before that happens, you will notice that all of the police forces will put their guns down and they will no longer mind you any business, unless of course you commit a different crime in their vicinity, case in which yes, they will totally attack you once more. I also really appreciated the fact that it doesn't just work on the human police enemies but also on the robot ones, so even like the wall turrets will collapse back into their shells if you just make that bribe. I'm not really sure exactly how you bribe a robot, but it does work, so who am I to question it? But this is pretty much it. Totally let me know down below in the comments, have you tried any of these mods? Which one of these are your favorite and are you currently using them? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.